I think it is time for NXT to take over.
Suplex City, bitch.
What's your favorite match?
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
Who?
I told my father I'm gonna set up my own lucha league in America, and I'm gonna make it the best league in the world.
I'm gonna leave him in a pile of blood and urine and vomit.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast to review Monday Night Raw and give you guys all of the wrestling goodness news of the week, which this week does not involve shootings, murder and all that other, crazy stuff that tends to happen when wrestling goes down a dark patch, as it tends to do every now and then. The person speaking to you right now with his eloquentness, and I realise that saying the word eloquentness means I'm not eloquent. How's that for a brain fuck for you guys, isn't it?
It's a twist.
It's a twist. My name is Turbo Tony, and we're here with a man who is twice the man Triple H is. It's Matt Marsander.
If that was to be the case, there we go, right?
Yeah, I said that. Yeah. You can't say it back to me now because you're next to me. You can't say, "Oh, that was shit," because I'd cry and it would be really bad.
And it all gets really emotional.
It would. For people that have been with us through through the very beginning of the podcast and stuff like that, people know that ordinarily we would normally talk over Skype. I actually live in Ireland. Matt is in England. His address is but yeah, basically we're actually next to each other right now. We do these rare podcasts every now and then where we've flown over to each other for whatever reason, and we'll be doing the podcast. I think the next time we'll be doing this, funny enough, will be the NXT Takeover review in London.
That's true.
Where we will be reviewing that with a friend of ours that's going, who doesn't know he's reviewing it with us yet, but he will be.
Just jumps on it.
He doesn't
talk.
He doesn't have a choice in the matter. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
It's the way it's going to be. So Matt, we've got an interesting episode this week. Some news. Got some fan feedback. Because like I said, I've been watching Raw over the case of technically this is my holiday, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't actually been able to watch NXT. So I'm sorry, no NXT report card this week. But
I'm still playing catch up on the NXT. So
you haven't seen Eva Marie's botch or last
I'm
week.
on that episode.
Yeah,
I'll get there.
It's so good. It's so good.
I may have seen it by the end of the day.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so good. It's just it's amazing. Right?
The new future.
Yeah. The undefeated Eva Marie. Oh yeah, we'll go with that. Matt, if they want to tweet us on your Twitter handle,
on my Twitter handle,
okay,
I'm responsible.
Not your personal Twitter handle, the Let's Talk Wrestling Twitter handle. What would they have to tweet?
Could it possibly be at Talk Wrestle Pod?
You only know that because you read my notes.
No,
that's the only way you got around it this time.
I know it.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's what it is. By the way, guys, so obviously if you want to follow us on Twitter...
Ooh, Twitter.
Oh, we're looking at it now! If you want to follow us on Twitter, obviously you can follow us there. And if you tweet us in the next couple of days, who knows, I might be next to Matt when you do so. So you might get a dual response, who knows. By the way, the competition for the very first Let's Talk Wrestling podcast t-shirt is still up for grabs, because we're leaving this open until the week before Let's Talk Wrestling 100, so they've got plenty of time to go get those submissions in. We've had I know that we've had a few messages in regards to people, they want to make submissions but they're not entirely sure if they want it on episode 100 afterwards. If that's the case, don't worry, we're not going to force you to do it, but as long as you do the best one, that will get you the shirt.
It's all what you want.
It's all about what you guys want to do. As long as you've got the best intro, 30 seconds of an intro for our show, that's the way it is. And I've got the email address. It's Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com. Send your submissions there in whatever format you need. Doesn't matter. It doesn't. I can do whatever you send me over, as long as it's not smoke signals. Haven't quite got used to converting them through your laptop yet. So
prevent from Morse code. I'm not quite ready with that. Up to scratch with the dots and the dashes.
I am armed with my Tango Cherry that Matt has so graciously given to me this day. What have you got? Your Pepsi Max?
I have Pepsi Max. Yeah.
Pepsi Max. Okay. So we're all set. We're all prepared. Shall we begin the podcast?
I think it's a good start.
I think it's time. Let's get into the news, guys. We've got a few interesting news tidbits. To be honest, nothing was going to live up to the tabloid journalism of last week, in regards to assault and
Which is like, as I put on Twitter, it's almost like a terrible sort of like the start of a new HBO series or something. It's all like it's death, it's sex, it's scandal.
Someone left a message actually on the episode last week, and they said they looked at the title and they just rubbed their hands together like, yeah, this is going to be a good episode.
Delicious.
So the first bit of news that we've got, you may have heard this already if you're keeping up to track with the latest news. WWE have announced it themselves also. There was a well, I wouldn't say famous, but infamous, to people, in these circles, female wrestler from Japan by the name of Kana. And if you hadn't known her, the reason why that name may sound similar is because they showed her at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. She was there, and they showed her. They had the nameplate and everything for her.
She was sat next to, was it like Slaughter and Flair?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. If suddenly like this little Asian girl with a pink hair looked a little bit out of place, there you go, that was her.
Yeah, that was her. And I thought back then it was a bit odd that she was there and being, not odd that she was there, but being looked at, like in terms of they actually gave her like her nameplate and they looked at her and said, oh, it's her.
Yeah, I mean, rather than sort of like speculating until the point, which has been sort of how it's been recently.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the fact like with the case of like Atami, where Regal was like, he is coming. Whereas, like, with everyone else, it's just sort of, like, been, like, online speculation.
Yeah, right. This is
just like going through the rumour mill.
Yeah, but the fact is that, looking back on it now, it's quite easy to see the fact that this was obviously by design, that they said that, obviously, that she had popped up on that show a couple of weeks later on, that she's in contact with them. She's quite a good signing for NXT, right? She has been signed at NXT, that is the news story. But the reason why I like this signing is because, for one, 3 of the best girls in the NXT division are gone, right?
Yeah, to replace sort of what's left.
Yeah, right.
Well, what's left behind is like, who's gone. Like, we no longer have Charlotte. We don't have Becky. We don't have Sasha, other than for our rematch. So need something.
Yeah, no, they need to replace the troops, right? They need
they
need reinforcements as they're going along. Matt's taking a picture there for the Twitter. For the Twitter! Do I sound like Chris Jericho enough? Yeah. So, yeah, basically, she's obviously reinforcements. NXT, the brand, needs reinforcements, especially if they're starting the touring, if they're going to bigger buildings, which they are. We're going to one of those venues.
Mm-hmm.
They need to replace these names that have gone up to the main roster. And this is a good signing for them because she is a good wrestler. We know that already. She comes in with good experience already. Yeah, and a good track record. I just hope that she gets a match with Eva Marie and literally kicks the wrestling into her. I hope that there's some sort of thing that happens there.
Can only hope. It's like the one thing. It's like I'm happy for Kana, or she become Asuka.
Was that her new name?
Asuka, yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
And I'm more than happy to get extra talent in on the NXT Women's Division, because that's one of the things that NXT has, is a strong Women's Division.
Yeah.
But she's been left to work, like, who's left there to work with that's, like, on her, not necessarily on her level, but on an acceptable level. Like, you got Bayley, Emma.
I think Alexa Bliss is okay.
Bliss is okay, but, like, we're going into an era with NXT where, like, okay, on the main event side of things, you've still got, you've got Bayley and things like that, but, like, swallowing around what's essentially the women's division mid-card, who are getting pushes at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have, like, Asuka or Kana versus, like, Eva Marie or Brooke.
Yeah, like...
And it's like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah,
it's like, really, really good, watered down by really, really shit opponents.
That's what happens, though, when you gut the division, right? We knew it was going to happen. The tag division of NXT got gutted a lot when they brought up the Ascension, and the Ascension were pretty much the tag division at that time, right?
Yeah.
But obviously things have changed a little bit now. It is a lot healthier, so they need that with. But as you say there, Matt, when you've got the likes of like Dana Brooke, and I think Dana Brooke will come good eventually.
Yeah, I know. But I've seen a lot of people going like, she's improving, and it's like I keep seeing these things like that. Her and Dolph Ziggler are apparently an official, like, legit shoot couple, and I'm like, it just reminds me of like, you remember AJ's promo against the Bellas, like, talent's not sexually transmitted.
Yeah.
And those people are like, I hope she learns some things.
Yeah.
Like, probably won't.
Yeah. that. Like, to be honest, like, out of the two of them, if you had to pick, I think it's very easy to me. If you had to pick to me who's going to be the better out of the two, Eva Marie or Dana Brooke, who's going to be Dana Brooke? Like, it's the way it is. Like, she understands it a little bit more.
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
That's just my opinion anyway. But anyway, Kana, she's a good signing for NXT, the right sort of signing.
Yep.
And considering the sort of fans at NXT, the brand itself is trying to get in, she's the right sort of signing for
I mean, the thing is the probably the one thing with an NXT crowd is the fact that they're not, like, Full Sail isn't just like an NXT ground. There's a lot of indie knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, that's why, like, Balor can turn up. When he turned up, it was huge because everyone knew who Prince Devitt was.
Yeah.
Like Apollo Crews, everyone knows who Uhaa Nation was.
Yeah.
And that's it. This was one thing that's quite good, and as a result, I think she's, like, instantly, like, same as when Atami turned up, she'll get that skyrocket where she's known. It's that she's an international name.
Yeah. That's it, yeah, she's coming in already with a reputation, and these are the people that know that reputation.
Yeah.
If you were to put her on the main roster, people wouldn't know. That's just the way it is.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Some of them don't even know the NXT stars that come up and they spend time there. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. So, like, there's, like, half the crowd just, like when Neville came up to the main roster, like, half the crowd were like, fucking yay! And everyone's like,
who's he?
I don't know who he is.
But yeah, good signing.
And you people are ignorant.
Yeah.
Watch NXT.
Yeah. It's funny, actually, because I was talking to a few people who have been over here, and we talk about WWE, because naturally, we know we have a podcast and everything else, and they were like, talking about WWE, I was like, no, I don't want to talk about WWE. Now, Lucha Underground, let's talk about Lucha Underground. They're like, what's that? And I'm like, let me open the door for you.
It's the fact that, like, the first day you were over here, we didn't even talk WWE at all. We're just like, have you heard about, like, Lucha not possibly getting its second signing? He'll get a second signing. I know, there's so many stories they have to...
We're just hanging on, like, they have to have a second season.
What's going to happen with Mil Muertes with his stranglehold over the Underground division?
I know, right. So good. Moving on to a little bit, we're going all over the place in terms of different WWE stuff at the moment. But we're moving on to TNA, and some of our TNA inclined fans may be cringing, like, oh, come on, guys. Come on, you've hurt us enough with your statements.
There's one possible news story that you've forgotten, but I'll mention it later on.
Okay, well,
You mentioned TNA.
Okay.
We'll do this bit and then I'll bring in my one.
The journalistic excellence of Matt Marthander.
The researcher.
Kurt Angle. And
Yep.
he said in a interview this week that it's likely that he won't re-sign for TNA when his contract expires, which is...
Well, is that the fact that he's not searching to re-sign with WWE or anyone?
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm looking at... I don't think he's planning on calling it a day on his career, but I mean, it's common knowledge that he's had demons, he's had issues with drinking and all that lot. So it seems that what he's planning on doing is just sort of like, no, I'm gonna stop for a moment, and it'll be me and my family.
Yeah, and also as well, he wants to get on the acting train. He's tried it before, and every time he can come up with something like that, he will try it, which is obviously a safer line of work. He asked The Rock that, right? Now, obviously, I was just saying that Kurt Angle's going to make the same sort of money that
The Rock
would.
Yeah.
But this is really important for TNA, and the reason being is because that Destination America, one of the reasons why they were interested in picking up TNA is because they had Kurt Angle. They like the idea of having Kurt Angle as the focal point of that company.
Mm-hmm.
If he's gone, then I think any chance of that, I mean, to be honest, this is all redundant, because I firmly believe that Destination America already made their mind up months ago.
Apparently there's whisperings that they might be safe. I don't know.
I don't think so. But that's just me. Even if they do, it's not like, that's not the ultimate, oh, we're going to always survive. Yeah, you bought yourself another maybe 12 months.
Yeah.
Is it good enough to just survive? We're going back into our TNA talk there.
Yeah.
But this is interesting because, like I said, we were well aware that Destination America were very much liked the fact that TNA had Kurt Angle on their books. Now that won't be the case. Now he may go back on it. He may decide just to re-sign with them anyway. But from what he said now, that leaves TNA in a little bit of a dire situation. He's one of the last big stars.
He's not necessarily the face of the company, but he's been the bedrock for so long as well. Considering,
like, you say to people now,
like the main event Mafia, like he was Angle? Oh no, I think about it. Angle was main event Mafia, wasn't he?
I don't know. To be honest,
we're going back into a time where I've barely watched TNA, but at least cared a little bit about it. But he's been around for so long that he's one of their key names that now they've lost. If they lose Angle, because he's decided to call it a day.
Yeah.
But they've lost Joe, Styles, Christopher Daniels.
Yeah. Kazarian, which had been there for a while.
Yep. Like big names that have like
Oh, you know, like
Rude's still around, but I
yeah,
would say
but
that Rude's
you know, James Storm's gone, and
James Storm's gone.
he was a big name.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them. Yeah, they've lost a lot of long-time stalwarts, but I think, like I said, the main thing with that's the problem with it here is, like I said, is that those rumours that we always heard that Destination America very much liked having Kurt Angle a part of that company, and if he's not, then maybe it opens up a few more avenues.
Well, he's an American gold medalist, if anything.
Exactly,
like,
right.
It's that that medal holds some weight.
Yes, it does. It still does to this day, you know. And yeah, I hope him all the best and everything like that, but it does leave TNA in a bit of a precarious position, obviously.
Yeah, but now
okay, bring up your
next
one.
bit.
Yeah.
Gunner.
Oh, I
Have you
missed
heard
it. Yeah,
about
you
Gunner?
didn't tell me about. No, I didn't. I actually
Gunner's
don't know
going
this.
kicking fans.
What?
Right. So there was it was an indie show. It wasn't a TNA.
Mm.
Because obviously any guy in TNA who wants to make money has to work the indie still.
I have to work for you. Yeah.
There is a very regular fan. I can't remember his name or anything like that, but he was posting negative things online about Gunner.
Okay.
Now he's known by all the people backstage. He is a very regular person to that show. To
So
that
he
company.
goes to a lot of live shows.
He goes to a lot of live
yeah.
shows of that.
Of that whatever company it is.
Yeah. Now, whether it was the fact that Gunner was aware of this, and then he said something, and then Gunner flipped, but Gunner ended up kicking the guy in the chest.
What? And he was still in the
Like,
crowd?
the fan. Yeah. Front row.
Just kicked him.
Kick. Yeah.
Now, if the fan had jumped the barricade, then I give Gunner the complete pass.
Yeah.
He likes to. That's battery.
I think it's probably... well, I mean, depending on what sort of level that company's at, there may not have even been a barricade.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's still in his seat.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah,
if he'd walked over...
If he'd, like, straight up, like, his ass is still in the seat, in the chair, and he just sort of comes over and just, like, front kicks him straight. Yeah.
Yeah, then he's full within his right to actually sue Gunner, and to be honest, he deserves it. Like, if a fan jumped on... We actually had a moment like that on Raw later, actually this week. But he wasn't doing...
Oh, dreads and hat.
Yeah. But, like, if he had gone and attacked Seth Rollins, I would have no problems with Seth Rollins beating the seven bouts of shit out of the guy.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, that's crazy, that is.
Yeah.
We need to be careful what we're saying around Gunner, right?
That's it.
We might get our asses...
So, the former squad is going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, I've said positive things about the guy.
Oh, yeah, you've praised Gunner.
Yeah, I've praised him. Not this week, though. That's ridiculous. That's stupid.
Yeah.
And if he does get the book thrown at him, then he deserves it.
That's fine, he's earned it.
Lana is injured. She injured herself this week. You kind of already know this on Raw.
I don't care.
Yeah, it kind of happened. I had to bring this up. This does leave the whole situation in a precarious position because they were obviously building up to that mixed tag team match. Now they can't do it between...
No, the one they're gunning for a mixed tag at Night of Champions, and it's like, now it's got to be a singles match again, and like...
We're going to go into it a little bit later.
Oh, I want this match done. I want this over with.
There's a few rivalries like
fucking
that
sick of this.
at the moment in WWE. There's a few rivalries that fall under that banner of, okay, we're kind of done at this point. And unfortunately, I think this one has suffered from the
Sheamus
fact...
Orton.
Yeah. But I think this one has suffered from the fact that obviously now Lana's injured, so they can't do what they plan to do. But before then, you had Ziggler who was out for the better part of 7 weeks, doing this movie. This rivalry's been on hold. Like it's basically
been on stall. It's been on the back burner for so long.
Yeah, and now it's lost any momentum it ever had. So that's part of the thing there. This also goes to the fact, just bringing it up as well, that when Lana was actually initially training, she was told then that she really didn't could hack it. Not like
wasn't it the fact that she wasn't allowed to carry on through, like, for health reasons.
Yeah.
Though. It's not the fact that she's like, oh, you better not do it because you can't, like, because you're no good. I mean, hell, people who are no good can still wrestle.
Yeah.
Look at Eve Marie and Cameron. I swear it was for like health reasons that they held her back. And
Yeah,
they just wanted to keep her as an on-screen talent.
Apparently, she showed some decent signs of potential.
Yeah.
But as you said, the injury's not in the way. So obviously, she's just a person. Some people just like this that just can't. They can't do it. It's fine. It's not a problem. But I think that any idea that they had of bringing in Lana to be like an in-ring competitor, even on a very minute
Basic
basis,
level. Yeah.
that's gone. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't
Even
do
if it's just doing basically like, what I like to call the bitch stairs press, because it's just that usual scrappy takedown and throw some punches, and that's probably about
and they
it.
slam their head against the mat. Yeah.
That's about it.
Which is basically the lazy move of any kind of female wrestler. He doesn't really have much of a move.
Yeah, a lazy takedown and some scrapping.
Yeah, that's
Done.
it.
Now this bit, I want to talk about this bit.
Okay,
I don't care about that.
We're getting to that.
Lana
We're
bit.
getting into that now. Steve Austin, he had his podcast after Raw this week, and it involved Edge and Christian.
And you know what? It reeked of awesomeness.
They weren't lying in the adverts leading up to this by saying it was going to reek of awesome. Yeah, it was pretty damn awesome. Considering about 3 minutes in, you've already got Austin in like a weird cowboy hat.
In a weird cowboy hat and a ukulele.
But it doesn't fit his head properly.
Yeah.
That's the best bit about it. That's the funniest thing. But it was actually a really good podcast. You can tell the difference between this one and the one he did with Paige. You can tell with Paige he was interested because he was meant to be interested. With Edge
it's
Christian,
genuinely with two people who he knows on a human level. Like, so they mentioned how they used to travel together.
Yeah.
So they had those sort of stories, and they had that camaraderie through, like, going through the years together. But yeah, like, I know with Paige, it was just sort of like, yeah, tell me about that. Uh-huh.
And the bit where you asked the same question twice.
Yeah, stupidly. Yeah, because his mind's shut off. Yeah. But like with this one with Edge and Christian, it was just so good. It was just because probably part of it because it was Edge and Christian, and now we can finally say that Christian is definitely retired.
Yeah, they brought that
even
up.
Even though they've still not really mentioned it though, have they? They were like, "How are you dealing with as Austin calls civilian life?"
Yeah,
but it's like you've never said anything about like you just left.
He got gypped.
Where are you, Christian?
Yeah, that one.
You're meant to have been at work 4 months ago.
He did that one more match thing with Randy Orton. That should have been his one where they guaranteed him like if Christian loses here, he's retired. But they never said that. And then they were saying, oh, he could come back, and we heard rumours of him. Oh, he's going to be coming back.
And now he's just
done.
Now the rumours have stopped, and he's on a podcast as a former talent.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the writing's on the wall. He just kind of got a gyp deal in terms of like that. He will be inducted into the Hall of Fame eventually, though. But,
you reckon?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. Christian has had a very good career, and I think part of his, because they were comparing one to the other, and they were like, I think part of his was hindered in the eyes of a WWE fan by the fact that Christian went off to TNA.
Yeah. Do you think that's the way they think about it rather than people thinking about it?
But if people don't watch TNA, they've just literally just gone
They
like...
think he's gone for
He was gone for a fair while, to be fair.
But I mean, the best solo run he had in terms of championships came after he came back from TNA. So
yeah.
You give him that. Like the thing is, though, no disrespect for TNA.
The thing is, I kind of hope he doesn't get inducted into the Hall of Fame as
Edge and
Christian.
I do. He deserves a solo induction. Some of the people that have gone, solo people have gone in with lesser achievements than he has.
Yeah, agreed.
He's a former world champion. Yes, he would never have won that championship.
He's a multiple time tag champion.
Yeah. Like some people,
he's one of the innovators of such grueling matches that WWE have had over the years.
Like I said, that some people may say like, oh, he never would have won it if it wasn't for Edge never got injured. So that should.
If he wasn't doing it if he wasn't mimicking the Rey Mysterio Eddie, I'm doing it for my friend.
It's not even so much that. I think it's more along the lines of, some people want to say, you never would have been there if Edge, but that's just the way the chips fall. Sometimes the chips fall that. You can't take away that achievement saying, you never would have got this because of this. Well, guess what happened? Like, there's no way getting around it.
Yeah.
He made the best of the situation that happened. It's not like he went out and stabbed Edge. You're going to get so injured, I'm going to take your spot. No, it wasn't like that.
But I will admit, it was amazing. It was that sort of like, do I start watching Raw, or do I catch this podcast?
Yeah.
Podcast first.
Yeah.
Clearly.
You should, guys,
if it reeked of awesomeness and was so it was funny as well.
Yeah, it was.
Because
a little bit goofy at
we
times,
had of course it was goofy. We had kazoos.
Yeah.
We had Steve Austin's music by kazoo.
Singing Kumbaya. Yeah.
And Austin singing Kumbaya. Exactly. You're not going to catch that on Raw.
If that's a big enough advert for going to watch it, I don't know what else we can say. Really.
Or like at the end where they're all doing the 5-second pose.
Yeah, and Austin kind of doesn't really know what to do.
Flash photography, which is like...
Yeah. They actually got someone to come in and pretend to be a photographer and do it. That was quite funny. So yeah, it's a good podcast. Over an hour, just over an hour, about an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good stuff. You should go watch it. One of the good things that
I might watch it again.
Yeah, it's one of the good things that they do with the network is doing those podcasts. yeah, the last one with Page is probably the worst one that he's done on the.
I mean, I think I hit the nail on the head. I mean, whether I'm just being selfish by the fact that like I said it, but I think it's because with everyone who he's had on recently, or in over the course of everything, it's always been people that he's had dealings with in the past.
Yeah.
So he had Triple H, he's had Vince. He's had, obviously the best one I reckon that he's had. Ooh.
Yeah, it was. I think that was.
You think it was better?
I think this one was more controversial.
I think they're all good, but I'm very tied between whether I prefer Edge and Christian over Heyman.
I prefer the Heyman one, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like, I had more fun watching the Edge and Christian podcast,
but I was more interested in what they were talking about with
I was more enthralled with what they had to say with
Heyman.
So they're both good for different merits.
But that's it. I mean, then with Page, it's like you're just a current talent, and I've never dealt with you before.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not really much there. You don't see. So is it like Austin and Page? They probably wouldn't have anything in common. Like, that's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
So
other than I think Austin hinted at it, and they tasted their loves of beer and whiskey.
Yeah,
I think that was about it.
Yeah. So that's all of our news for this week. Anything's a slow news week compared to last week. That was crazy last week. I don't think we're ever gonna have a news week like that.
I think because especially considering last week we're like, Raw happened. That's all we can really say because we've been talking about the news for so long.
Yeah, we were talking about the news for like an hour and 20 minutes. So yeah, we didn't even have time.
Yeah, there was Raw.
Yeah, there was
done.
That's it. Let's get to our fan feedback now. We've got 3 questions here from our fans. If you do want to leave any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Obviously, you can tweet us at TalkWrestlePod, and I can say that without the note being on the screen. So we've got some questions here. Crimson Omega, carrying on his long run and rich history of form, with leaving comments for us, asks: should Seth Rollins lose his World Championship at the Night of Champions? How much will it hurt his character, as his character is so entwined now with that championship? Now, firstly, my reaction to that is, if he loses both matches and loses both championships, he'll be fine. Right? People maybe are panicking a little bit too much. If he loses both his belts, that's Rollins. Rollins is done. He's never going to be as big as he is now. He'll be fine, because they're all building up now to the big money match for him anyway, which is against Triple H. That match is happening. If he's not a champion, he's a champion.
Sting's the stepping stone. I mean, I don't know whether they're going to take it. I don't think he'll lose the World Championship. I reckon he may well lose
the US.
I don't care. I mean, in fact, I almost feel like I should be sick or I should wash my mouth out after this, but I kind of want Cena to have the US title back.
For those matches,
for those open challenge matches, but I don't think he'll lose the World Championship. And I mean, it's not to go as far as to think, the big money match he's going to have with Triple H is going to be for the title. Hell no. We're going to have Triple H work. I mean, he could.
Yeah.
No, he could take the title. He could still just be like, I am the COO and your champion.
Yeah. He's got, like, WrestleMania 30. Didn't he say that? I'm going to own the company and I have to do things the way that I think it is. So I'm going to beat Daniel Bryan. I'm going to beat Batista, Randy Orton. I'm going to win the championship at WrestleMania 30. That's all of his build up towards that. Because you remember,
was Triple H going to?
If he beat Daniel Bryan,
it was only Daniel Bryan that would have.
No, it would have been whoever, because they were building up to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But listen, right? If he loses the world title to Sting, should he lose it? Like, I say, my head says no, because obviously, Rollins is a long-time worker, Sting is going to do lots of dates, everyone knows it's going to be a short-time deal, but there's a big problem with WWE, that it's just not been very interesting the last couple of months, right? That's just the...
I think, like, the only reason Sting's now showing his face again is because he hasn't held the big title of WWE.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of goes with the same mindset of why I think... with Dudley's coming into Night of Champions, that's why they're here for a belt, and I think WWE will give them the belt.
Yeah, the Dudley's, by the way, definitely winning their 10th title. That's the way it's going to be. Sting, however, is he going to win the World Championship? I think a lot of people are writing this off. I think there's a chance they will give him the belt.
Yeah.
For a very small, minute run. I will agree with you. There's more chance he will lose the US belt and keep the World Championship. But it's not completely out of the realm possibility that he does lose the World title. And if he does, guys, I think Seth Rollins will be fine because he's walking into a feud, and I don't think he's going to come off like the babyface. He's still going to be the heel, right? He's still going to be the person with the ego. He thinks he's better than everyone else. He's going to blame everyone.
If anything, because he's now worked himself into this position where he's been so egotistical about I'm the man, I'm the one, I'm the best there is. I think that it will actually throw not necessarily the authority, but definitely Triple H as a face.
Yes.
If he's the one that costs him.
The one that shuts him up.
Yeah, that's it. Because everyone, like, it's really sad because, like, Baltimore this week was, like, really vocal when it came to promos of throwing out a boring chant. But it's not the fact that they're the only place that thinks that. They're not the only place that will go, oh, Rollins is just going on so much, he needs to shut up. But if Triple H is the one to shut him up, then hey, Triple H is face.
Yeah, but you look at the way that the Authority has been booked the last couple of months. They haven't done anything really heelishly. In fact, they've been dicks to Seth Rollins. They've
It's like, oh, I've got 2 matches. That's all right. You can have 2 matches tonight, so you can get ready for it.
Yeah. In all fairness, if you're going to say, like, if you take the last few months in a bubble, take it out and say, what do you think they are? They're more face than heel guys.
Yeah.
And that's by design, because they're preparing Triple H to be the one that cancels out Seth Rollins. That will eventually happen, and maybe whether or not we'll get to that when it comes. So yeah, if he loses this match, the thing is, right, it doesn't matter if someone loses a championship. It's not about them losing the championship that's damaging. It's what they do after that's damaging. If they go in, lose the title, they don't do anything afterwards, then that is extremely damaging.
That's when your problem's going to rise.
If they lose the championship and come into something like a big rivalry, a big money rivalry, then it's completely fine. They're absolutely fine with losing that.
I mean, hell, it's like we've had SummerSlam, so Mania's next.
Yeah, that's it. I do think they probably will build up for a Mania match with Rollins. And I
think Rollins, Triple H, and Mania would be awesome.
Yeah. But I don't think it would be for the championship. I think he would have lost it by then.
As a grudge match.
Yeah, as a grudge match. I think that's got enough in it to be a grudge match.
Yeah.
Kane St. Dennis asks, what is the worst feud of this year so far? Now, there is quite a few candidates. My initial thoughts literally go to Sheamus and Randy Orton, because the matches are consecutively boring, and basically...
Well, it's not the first time we've had this feud as well.
Yeah, right. We've seen it all before. Why do we need to see it now? And they're basically just elongating all this stuff out. It is literally like it's just boring. That's just the bottom line of it, and they shouldn't ever be boring, right? It's completely meaningless. I'm sure there is worse, considering their matches haven't been bad. They've just been identical, right? I think that's the issue.
It's all like copy paste Broger RKO to finish.
Yeah, you could take all these matches out, and I mean they had a match again on Raw, and it was completely utterly boring. So, and the placement of those matches that they've used so far this year, they've been opening pay-per-views. I think that's a completely asinine idea. I have maybe the one in St. Louis, I get you, because Randy Orton, St. Louis, I get you, but
yeah,
like they opened SummerSlam,
They did, yeah. I mean, surely, booking 101 of sorting out a card, you want a match that gets the crowd going rather than, yay, this match again.
One that makes us think, okay, you know what? I'm just going to give it 20 minutes, go do what I do, come back, and hopefully the match will be over by that point.
I've got enough time. The queues in the merch stand will be quiet. Yeah, alright, I've got to get a t-shirt whilst I'm waiting.
Yeah, I mean, like... it's just one of those matches that doesn't get anyone excited, and that should be exactly what WWE should be fearful of. They're way too comfortable of just doing this stuff over and over and over again.
Exactly.
It is a bit worrying, actually, because this is like plain as day, right? They're not getting anything here. What about you? Worst of the year? Or... That's just the first one that sprang to my mind, maybe because it's the most recent.
Are we doing worst of this calendar year or worst since Mania? Like the wrestling year?
I'd say wrestling. No, the calendar year.
Of the calendar year.
So prior to Mania as well. I was thinking maybe like the tail end of the Ambrose and Wyatt.
Can I push far enough back to... No, because we're talking post SummerSlam. Last year.
Yeah, no.
No. I was going to go like the Bella rivalry, but then that's...
Oh, that was absolutely...
That was like, obviously, last year, post SummerSlam. So, I could kind of go with the exact same. I think it's not the fact that it was worse, like the worst feud, but I think the most pointless feud was actually Wyatt Ryback.
Oh yeah, you're quite right.
The fact,
yeah.
that, the fact that I actually saw that moment in time where you're like, what? Oh, that did happen.
Yeah.
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 Where it was pointless.
I completely forgot about it.
Exactly. You forgot about it. Like, it literally only just twigged in my mind. It's like, who else has Wyatt fought this year?
He could have done nothing all this time.
Oh yeah, Revolt Ryback. For no reason other than just like, well, Ryback broke a rib. That's the highlight of the whole feud.
Yeah.
There's
There's a few people in WWE that are like that have it. You got Wyatt, you got Orton. Sometimes gets out of that, but Wyatt and Sheamus, I think, are the two main culprits. Where they'll have so many of these matches that, unfortunately, the whole rivalry is really forgettable, and it's really. I
mean, it kind of goes, especially with Wyatt. I saw this on another video, which was the Wyatt problem, which is be really cryptic, don't know who he's on about, make an attack, have a feud, repeat.
Yeah, that's essentially the Wyatt. That's Wyatt. The Wyatt formula. Yeah, and unfortunately, like the whole Braun Strowman thing is probably the most exciting thing that's happened with Wyatt, and it's not even that's someone else being exciting for Wyatt at the moment. And you got a star.
Guy who looks like Sam Tarley on steroids, but you know.
Yeah.
He's got the most baby face. Like, I am a monster, but you're so like, oh, you can't be a monster. You look friendly.
I have his finishing move, Matt. It's the Dragon Glass pile driver. That's what it should be if he does a pile driver or something.
I was gonna say he doesn't pile driver. He does like a Dominator.
The White Walker choke out. That's what he's got. That's the
the Walker choke.
The Walker choke. Yeah. But yeah, that's just our thoughts on it there. But
what is his finisher?
It's that choke, isn't it?
No.
Oh no, he's got
puts
the flip.
them up for like a Dominator.
Yeah, and then he flips them.
And then rolls them off.
Yeah. I'm not keen on that finish. I actually like the choke a lot more than most people do.
What, just like the brutal bear hug?
Yeah, they pass out. Doesn't matter what you finish is, as long as you perceive it. You know, what is it Heyman said on that thing? You know, you can just have Mark Henry using a headlock, as long as everyone says that headlock is destructive and he beats tons of people with it. It becomes a move that people fear, and the audience gets educated that headlock is something devastating.
Yeah,
doesn't matter what it is, as long as you
nobody locks on a headlock like Mark Henry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Moving on, Alex from Wrestling Boom says that he remembers when we had 100 subs and now we're almost at 400. And all I can say to that is imagine how crazy it'll be when we hit 1,000. Well, I don't know, maybe we'll get a bit ahead of myself. I actually have, the whole thing about us hitting 400 is this year's sort of goal. I want to go crazy next year and see if we can get a push and get 1,000. I know that's crazy and completely out of the realms of possibility, but
rush it,
let's do it. He asks, what is the best year in the 90s? Good question, this one. 1997, I think, is the easiest response. It is the one I'm going to go with, because 1997 was a good year for not only WWE but for WCW. WCW was doing some of its best stuff in 1997, and it was towards the end of that year that WWE started chasing back up with them. So, yeah, I'd say 97. Some people may argue 98, and maybe so, but
I can completely understand why, because then that was that proper moment of head-to-head.
Yeah, but that's when WWE started really kind of, basically sorting their shit out, sort of thing.
And surpassed, yeah.
So yeah, either or. I go 97. I remember 97 as a young wrestling fan. Like I said, I didn't even understand all the stuff that was going on back then, but man, was it just crazy just being a fan, learning how. For my first experiences in wrestling, I chose a pretty good era in terms of like figuring out, what was going on at that time. So yeah, that was all good. I did enjoy that along those lines. But yeah, if there was any year that I wish that I could relive on the podcast, it's 97. I'd love to go back in time and podcast the entire year of 97 as it happens.
There's so much excitement.
Just the excitement, the news we would be doing reviews of WCW and WWE, because you never knew what was going to happen. Shots being fired. I'd love to go back to 97, review that year, but have it so it has the technology of now. So you've got Twitter and all that shit going on at the same time. Could you imagine some of the social media
chaos
shit,
on social media and like on YouTube or something? It would just be ridiculous.
It would be crazy. Like there would be more than a few slip ups and stuff like that, especially with the amount of things going on back then. Anyway. So that's our fan feedback for this week. Oh, what would you go on 97?
I completely agree. Yeah. But you don't really want to go. How could it be a good year if it was a year when someone was struggling? But if you've got two companies at their peak, or both on the rise and just sort of proper slugging it out on like week for week.
Yeah.
Like, how can that not be the best time?
And it could, because they're fighting against each other. Sometimes we've got bad weeks of television, but they're always.
There was a lot of trial and error going around.
Yeah.
It's like, that didn't work. Right, throw it.
Yeah.
Like, we need something now that works.
Yeah. So some weeks you've got some painful television, but every now and then you get a show that would live on the memory, right? And they'll pull off something that would just be fantastic. And I would take that much. I would much rather take that than what we get now, which is a lot of monotony. So, yeah, 97. Yeah, I'll take that as the year.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm answering a question that wasn't asked there. What year would I love to go podcast? 97. 97 onwards, really, because then you get the down for the WCW and you get the talk of that. It'll be quite interesting.
Yeah. And then we could, like, as it happened, like,
yes.
we could have just, like, no, but as it happened, the Mick Foley moment.
Oh, yeah,
just like, they were idiots.
Yeah, so many good stuff. So if you guys do want to leave any questions and you want them answered here on the podcast, you can leave them in the comment section below, and as I said, on Twitter @TalkWrestlePod. And yeah, like I said, we carry on the long, rich tradition of answering questions here on the show. It's one of my favourite segments. So if you want to be a part of that, you know how to be a part of it. It's not very hard. You just type in that little box.
Yeah, just like, what do you think? What do you want?
That's it. The Raw review that we're moving on to now. We're going to be reviewing this week's Raw. This Raw, unfortunately, was a mid-monther leading up into the Way of Night Champions, and it, to be honest, a bit of a spoiler, it reeked of mid-monther throughout the majority of the show. And I may be a bit biased.
I mean, there was a couple good matches though.
There was, but I may be a little bit biased. But when I'm watching 3 hours of Raw and what's meant to be my holiday, I'd be much rather doing other stuff, sort of thing. Yeah. So maybe I'll be a little bit more negative than maybe I should be this week. So I prefix this review
with a slight, with a disclaimer.
Yeah. So this show came on from Baltimore. I remember me and Matt have been a little bit critical of Baltimore's crowds. Sometimes they're good.
You mean where one year they just where one time they were just
Jake the Snake came out and it was like his first thing.
They did nothing.
They did nothing. The crowd here weren't that good either, in my opinion. I thought
they love their boring charm.
Yeah, and like I said, they weren't entertaining with what they were seeing. I think whenever you start off a show with Monday Night Rollins, I think that maybe you're starting the show off on the regular foot, which is the wrong foot. Yeah. He starts off the show telling us how special he is, pontificating for a little while, just explaining everything that's happened. Because
don't forget, I'm so good.
Yeah.
Here's why. It's
good he's narrating all this stuff to us, Matt, because you only heard it a couple of thousand times.
I mean, I could have forgotten.
We could have forgotten very easily since last week. And I don't mind a heel playing himself up and saying that,
like heels should.
But when you're basically narrating everything each week, and like people are just getting bored, and you're saying the same stuff each week, that's not heat. That's just boring, right? That's a different thing.
You're not making me hate you for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Like it's really weird because it's the only place in wrestling where you can think I hate you for the wrong reasons that I hate you.
Yeah.
Where it's just like I shouldn't hate you because you're boring. I should hate you because you're a dick.
Yeah.
You're just like a malicious arse, but in fact you're just boring me, and that's why I don't like you.
I guess the best way to put it is that you should want to see the heels get beat up. You shouldn't want the heels to go away, right? You don't want to see the heels not be on your screen. You still want to be interested in what they're saying, but you want the face to come in and give this guy his comeuppance, right?
Yeah,
that's some of the difference there. That's the fine line that you have to hit as a heel, which I don't. And like I said, it's not entirely Rollins' fault. He just gets too much time, and they expect him to have like 15 minutes of an opening segment saying all the stuff he's already said.
Yeah. Hey guys, do you remember last week? What about the week before that? Remember a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
Remember Mania?
Yeah. Basically, he's doing that every week. Fans are going to turn on that. That's just the way it is. But and there's not much you can do really to make it fresh. It's the bottom line of it. So if last week was the story of how Triple H is the man, he's still awesome and all this lot, which kind of was the case. This week it was all about Sting stealing Rollins' statue. It was the story of his statue this week. And at a certain point, it seemed that Rollins had bored himself into a bit of a slumber while talking. Maybe that was just me. But the crowd started chanting boring, as we already knew that. And I mean, come on, like I said, first 10 minutes just narrating, of course.
Yeah.
Normally I would take a few notes on what exactly he said, but come on guys, I would be wasting your time. you know, like I said, you've heard it all before. That's just the bottom line of it there. Sting appears on the Titantron. He's with the statue. He's saying, well, you know what? If you want to, you know, if you're the man, at the moment you're the man without a statue.
Yeah.
So
It's like, I mean, it's here. I'm here.
yeah, come get it. You know, you know exactly where it is, even though it's in complete darkness. So maybe, yeah, the arena might be very big. It might be quite hard to find, but still. I thought Sting was pretty very interesting here. What was going on? They talked back and forth about how you know. Oh no, sorry, that's Sheamus. Sheamus came down for some reason. Sorry, man, this opening segment bored me to tears.
So ridiculous. Just like, don't forget, I've still got this. Like,
what thing you carry around with you each week?
Yeah, the thing that I, especially on Rollins' side of things. Oh, what you mean the thing that I used to have? Yeah, I know, I know what this briefcase is and what it does.
Yeah, but Sheamus came down. Man, I was losing fucking interest in this from the get go, really. Yeah, they were talking back and forth about how stupid they sound and look. Sheamus shows off his briefcase, as you say there, and says, "Oh, you know what? You might have 3 matches at Night of Champions," which I'm sure no one wants to see that 3rd match if it happens. Yeah, I thought that this opening segment sucked, and it sucked the life out of me to begin with. To be honest, it was not a good way of getting me emotionally involved in this show. I just wanted it to be over. Great way to start the show.
I know.
But, Stephanie McMahon with Rollins backstage. Rollins wants a plan from Triple H, a master plan on how to deal with these 2 matches at Night of Champions. Then Triple H himself shows up. You know, he's back from dealing with that shooting last week at his beloved NXT Performance Center.
Yeah. Get away from my baby!
You hurt my baby! But Triple H says that Rollins will have 2 matches tonight to prepare for the 2 matches he will have at the pay-per-view. Rollins versus Ryback, champion versus champion, and then Rollins and the New Day against John Cena and PTP. And yeah, it is a little bit weird here, where the heel is the one getting the odds stacked against him. But as you said here, it's just to build up the fact that they're going to have this Triple H match.
That's it. It's just sort of like, exactly. It's more of us, like we were saying earlier, where it's just like, you shouldn't be doing this, but it's just them being a dick to the heel.
Yeah.
And we like that.
Exactly. Paige versus Sasha Banks, a rematch from last week, considering that didn't finish and it was 90 seconds of...
Yep.
Yeah. There's less said about that, the better. Charlotte will have a match next week on Raw for the Divas Championship, which, to be honest, they should have announced already. Like, I think they're kind of catching up. They should have announced that the winner of the SummerSlam match, they are the 3 number 1 contenders, and they'll decide that at a later date.
Yeah.
And they should have announced the timing of when they were going to have this title match and everything like this. It seems like WWE sort of are like missing on all these moments that could have done well for them, and they're only sort of catching up with themselves.
Oh yeah.
Which is a bit odd, you know. That is a problem. But she wants to be, you know, that next week's Raw is the last date to stop Nikki beating that record. So
yeah.
If she wins that, then she will beat the record. She'll beat it before Night of Champions. So it was a good. They should have done it, and they have done it. So you know, then we'll have that match next week. This was an okay match. Probably, you know, one of the worst ones that I've seen Sasha Banks have in a little while, at least. I wasn't that impressed. I think Paige has had so long working in these very, very short matches that the excellence that she used to have, it just isn't so much. Well, maybe she it's like a hidden dragon, right? She needs to discover that she's actually good again.
Yeah.
So she can actually have these matches at this point. So a distraction here allows Sasha. She reverses the PTO into PTO and it's Paige tap actually. Yeah, it's PTO. Yeah. Into a small cradle. She gets the win, which, you know, fair enough, it's okay. But
both shoulders were down.
What?
Both shoulders were down.
Oh, well, you caught that, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there is that.
It's like, there's like so many things. Like I've seen so many pictures. Like, am I the only one who cares?
Well, it could. Wait, they didn't botch that finish worse than fucking.
I mean, hey, the match got a "This Is Awesome" chance, so it's fine.
I didn't think it deserved it.
I don't think it deserved it, but it was good. I mean,
it's alright. Maybe I'm making it out to seem worse than it is.
You're on your holiday and you didn't like to spend.
That's exactly what it is, right? I could be fucking going out and getting pissed, but no, I'm here watching Raw. So yeah, that's pretty much it. By the way, guys, you know, this whole thing, I'm so over these teams coming out and supporting each other. I mean, I get it, yeah. I mean, I guess I can give the PCB a pass this week because, yeah, they can't stop Charlotte for being the number one contender now. So
They
okay,
just have to accept it.
but it's just a little bit like I'm just so done with them, right? I think the thing is, right, with all these different teams, you can actually give them all different storylines on breaking up. You can have like the whole Sasha Banks thing. You could basically copy and paste the Nation of Domination with that, and it's not because they're black or whatever, right, or anything like that. It's just that you can have Sasha is like the star, but Naomi's like, no, I'm the leader of this group. I'm the established one. That was the dynamic that the Rock and Farouk had back then.
That's it.
You can have PCB them kind of trying to keep this friendship together, no matter how much they keep trying, it's just not working.
Yeah.
So they basically will go for the
It's
championship.
all just two different.
And Team Bella.
Hey, man, that'd be a triple threat I'd happily watch.
Yeah. Right, and the thing is,
PCB scrapping for the belt.
Yeah, I'd be quite happy watching that. Right, it'd probably be a decent match.
Make a fatal four-way and chuck Sasha in there.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, that you can have Team Bella have a different storyline where Nikki thinks that she's pucker, she's got all this sorted out. Maybe she does get the record, but then slowly start realizing that Alicia and Brie start thinking, you know what? It's all well and good you having all this championship.
We're the ones who have to fight everyone.
Yeah.
Like, that's one
Why
thing.
can't I be the champion, right?
Yeah,
and suddenly it gets into your head. 3 different storylines with 3 different teams.
All you have to do is just to see the sow the seeds of doubt. Is just have Nikki just like, but it's good. But remember, I'm the champion.
Yeah, I am the star. Yeah, I am the person. Yeah, you're great as you are. You can help
this
me
isn't
out,
team
but...
this isn't Team Fox. This is Team Bella. And there you go. That's Alicia.
Yeah.
Just like the fuck.
Yeah, that's her gone. And then later on, it might be the fact that Brie gets into her head. Well, why aren't I the champion?
Because I'm the better Bella.
Yeah,
And you're done.
It's so easy, right? If we
That's
can come up
3
with
people scrapping.
You can have a way of breaking all these 3 teams up in 3 different ways. It's easy. Right?
Yeah,
it's good. But like I said, the teams need to stop. They need to start going singles and start gunning for that. And like I said, now if they want to have 2 Divas matches at a pay-per-view, they can, because you have one for the belt, one for the number 1 contendership. Easy, done.
Yeah.
They need to have more number 1 contendership. The Ascension versus Reigns and Ambrose.
Woo.
Oh, the Ascension match.
It happened. There we go.
We have to talk about it.
They lost. All right, they lost.
They lost. Okay.
They tried, but they're not Reigns and Ambrose who are on a push at the moment.
Yeah.
So there you go. They lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck the Ascension.
It's so funny.
I don't care for the Ascension anymore.
Yeah. They ruined them. But what I think the word easily.
So the worst part, actually, the worst part of this match is obviously they got the jobber entrance, so they didn't actually get their entrance. They were already in the ring and their music was still playing. And at one point, I thought, I don't know whose music this is. I was like, who is in the ring? Like, I don't recognise this. Oh, it's so sad. It's like I used to love the Ascension in NXT, and now I'm just like fuck off.
Yeah. I
didn't even recognise their music when they were in the ring. This is terrible.
Empty like husk of what they used
That's
to
it.
be. Yeah. But that dealt
We're
with
the
so
Road
easily.
Warriors. What the fuck?
Yeah, really.
Fuck off, please.
It's actually funny when you look at how
Then you go to NXT and your job and fucking.
Yeah, that's just the way. Yeah. But it's so funny, like seeing how quickly their push ended, like how quickly Vince was decided, nah, I don't like this group, so they're done. But after the match, which lasts literally all of like a couple of minutes, which is obviously just easy, bing bang bomb. Done.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman pops up on the Titantron with his mask first of all, but he peels it off and says, "It's okay to be afraid," which I guess maybe he's channeling his inner Sam Motali and that it's okay to be afraid, John.
Yeah.
Was it for the watch? But Wyatt then shows up, says that the apocalypse is waiting for anyone who joins Reigns and Ambrose. This would play into something that happened later on. So there was at least some consequence to Wyatt saying something. So there's something. We'll clutch to that and hold it dear. So yeah, I'm begging for this match to have, like the match that they have, the 6-man match, have some sort of lasting stipulation.
As long as the 6th guy is decent.
Well, apparently it will be Corbin. Like we said last week, it was rumoured to be. Apparently even more so this week.
I don't want it to be Corbin.
But
I don't want Corbin.
Listen, if it is Corbin, I'll be excited to see the match. But it's
the Lone Wolf now in a 6-man.
You always bring the Lone Wolf in. On
granted, he's teamed up with Rhino at the moment for this. For obviously this American Dream tag tournament or whatever it is.
NXT tag title.
Yeah, but it's just like, but he's the Lone Wolf.
Yeah. It would.
I don't know how he'd go down on main roster. That's the only problem.
yeah, maybe we talk about that when it happens, because I think that would be something that's quite interesting, considering how the way he's been booked is so different to the way normal people have been booked, because he's basically just been fed people all this time, and when he's been in a big match,
he tanks. Oh no,
I thought he was
beat
good against
Rhino.
Joe.
He had a really good match against Joe.
Yeah,
but he lost.
but
he beat Rhino in a very good match as well.
I mean, we could have a very maybe next week we'll have our NXT report card on Corbin. Actually, that might be a good idea. We go through all the ways that if it's the right time. I don't think it's the right time for Corbin, but yeah, maybe so. But yeah, I've called it here the Bray effect. You know, you've got the butterfly effects. Every action has a consequence. You know, a ripple here where he shakes skyscrapers in another country. The Bray effect. You can drop an atom bomb as Bray Wyatt, and guess what? Nothing happens.
Yeah,
nothing. No consequences. The Bray effect. So yeah, I need someone to superimpose just a face of Bray Wyatt on a butterfly. Golden. The Bray effect. Renee Young backstage with Ryback. He says that the Intercontinental Championship, so I say title and championship in the same word, and it didn't really get that too well. And has a rich history of fighting champions and badly booked wrestlers. I added that last little bit.
Yeah.
Has a rich history of badly booked wrestlers. Only recently. He says that Rollins is the architect and the man, but Ryback has his own plans. And he acts out a meat hook and acts out his shell shock. This promo was awful.
It was okay until he started acting out the meat hooks and things like that.
Ryback actually is
suddenly was just like, oh, this is a pretty solid promo, and then suddenly out of nowhere, just like, and then it's gonna, and then starts pumping his arm or something. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Are you okay? You're having the meat hook close line. It's like, okay,
he's having a seizure.
He's fine. And it's just like mimicking his shell shock, and so it's like, oh, he's possessed again. Just shell shock. It's like,
oh yeah.
We know what your finish is. We know what your finish is. We know what your signature is. Don't mimic it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Just say I'm going to meat hook him and shell shock him. That would have been okay. But yeah, to be honest, this whole promo, so he's actually a lot better than this. It's quite. Yeah, I don't know why it sounded so rehearsed, and the whole thing of him
just teleprompter in the corner.
Yeah,
behind
it sounded
camera.
so much like that. Yeah, it sounded like he was reading lines. Let's just be honest. Kevin Owens shows up, reminding us what a good promo guy can do, because I don't think he can do a bad one. I don't think. It's like as rare as an eclipse is a bad Kevin Owens promo. Doesn't happen too often, and sometimes you'll miss it. He warns Ryback not to bite off more than he can chew.
He says with the apple.
He says with an apple. I thought maybe he'd just spit in his face and say you're not cool, just for the fuck of it.
No.
Matt, I can dig Owens as Intercontinental Champion, and I think he will be.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
I think that him as IC champ, putting gold back around his waist, will bring him a little bit closer back to what he was before.
Yeah, definitely.
Got their
before it all just swallowed.
Yeah. Because let's face it, the whole Cena thing did not work out.
No, it didn't work. Well, obviously we knew it wouldn't work because he's a young upstart talent, and it's John Cena.
Yeah. So, this is the way it is. But I do expect Owens to win the championship. Yeah. Maybe not initially. Maybe he loses the first match, but maybe it's dubious. Hell, Ryback wins all of his matches by dubious circumstances anyway. So it's not exactly out the realm of possibility. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I do expect him to win that title, and hopefully that'll bring him back to somewhere closer to where he was before all this stuff happened. WWE show a video package showing a E-News style, it's explaining the Lana and Ziggler storyline. He came on to be scandal, Matt, scandal.
Oh no!
The way I looked at it is like if you had the National Enquirer who made a vignette, it'll probably look a lot like this.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how it looked and how it came off. The thing I thought was funny about this is that they did the same promo later on in the night. They did this here and they did it.
Oh, the fact that they did it as a video package and then they decided, hey, we're going to do this live as well.
Yeah. So no, they did the very same video package twice.
Was it the same video package?
Yeah.
I don't remember the second video.
Which is, to be honest, that's a little bit lazy.
Yeah, I don't remember the repeat of it. I probably scored it out of my mind or something.
Yeah, just like
with a scalpel. Yeah. I won't remember this.
It's your memory sockets. Yeah,
that's it.
Give yourself a Men in Black, like what those things.
Yeah. That's it. I won't put the shades on.
Which you and me constantly have over our computers. And watching Raw. Ryback versus Rollins. Wow. While I have stated, and I think everyone can agree, Ryback was less than impressive on the mic. In the ring, he was quite impressive.
Yeah.
He definitely brought his game to his actual ring work this week, and you can tell that even if WWE aren't taking his championship run that seriously, he is at the very least. He's trying to.
Yeah.
You know,
he's definitely coming across that he's proud to be the champion.
Yeah.
Like,
and his
even
in-ring
if-
work,
Oh yeah.
shows that as well.
I think one thing I kind of like, this was like, it almost had that. I had that flashback where it's like, I remember when he was pushing for the main belt. And you
Yeah.
know what? With the way he's working at the moment, I'd be happy to see Ryback in a proper push again.
A main event.
In a main event push, yeah, because like he's over.
Yeah.
Like there's no denying that now. He's back to being where he's essentially back to where he was when he first turned up.
But in ring, he's way better than he was there.
Yeah,
right?
drastically.
Because let's face it, right? The reason why it helps him being a face, when you're doing those dives off the top rope as someone the size that he is, fans appreciate that sort of effort.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when we see that, we're like, geez, you don't
The
see
fact
a guy
that he
that
is
size
the
doing
fact that
this.
he is going above and beyond.
Yeah, right. He's changing his moveset, he's learning different moves, and he's having better matches in general than he was when he first came in.
Yep.
Guys, we've actually been far more positive on Ryback than we have been negative. A lot of podcasts don't like Ryback. A lot of fans don't like Ryback. We're a little bit more like, well, actually, he's fairly decent. He's someone that at least gives it his all. At the very least, he's someone who wants to be in a position that he's in, working as hard as he can. And I've got respect for that as a guy.
That's it.
So fair play to the guy. And him and Rollins here have a very good match. Very, very good match. A match that if it was for the World Championship, as you say that, Matt, I wouldn't have a problem watching this as a World Championship
it was
match.
a solid match.
It was a solid match. Quite enjoyable. Towards the end, Sting pops up on the Titantron. Says, "You know what? I'm still waiting for you. It's right here. Come
Like,
and
what
get
are you
your
doing? What are you
statue."
doing? I said, come get me. Like, we're still here.
Yeah. Sting using his ultimate troll powers here to full effect. I get the feeling he had actually quite a lot of fun doing these.
Yeah.
These things.
Was that the one who was bobbing up and down in front of the camera? I can't remember.
What?
No, I think that was later on in the night where just suddenly it just shows his.
Oh yeah,
his statue,
yeah.
and he's just like,
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
just like peekaboo.
Playing peekaboo with Rollins.
Yeah.
He was in full troll mode with Sting. But that distraction leaves him open for a small package, and Ryback gets a pinfall victory over the WWE champion.
I was thinking it was a small package, but I don't remember the last time we saw the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment.
The schoolboy roll up.
Yeah.
No, we haven't seen it in a while. I think actually a lot of it's got to do with the fact that there is a podcaster called Son Monster, and he started a website that counted the amount of the distraction roll-up pins there is.
Really?
And I think word's
That's
got to them
gold.
because they've stopped doing them a lot because they were doing them so often.
It was you'd have at least a once a week.
I mean, that's where our joke came from. The
Yeah.
fact that there was more people beaten by that move than actual finishers. Have my cherry tango there. I haven't had a cherry tango in years. That's amazing. But yeah, I think it got wind of them, and thankfully they've changed it up a little bit. But still, after the match, obviously, here's the thing, right? Here's the funny thing. I'm going to bring this up now, Matt. Next time someone gets a title shot because they got a non-title victory over a champion, I'm going to bring up the fact that Ryback never got a shot for both the United States and the World Championship.
True.
'Cause technically, doesn't he deserve
He won. He beat the champion.
in a non-title match, right?
That's it.
Like the same thing. If Seth had beaten him clean and he did, then Seth deserves an IC title shot, right? That's just the way it is. Right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's still. I don't know if it runs in in a champion versus champion match though.
But what I mean,
I swear at one point you couldn't hold two belts.
I get what you mean, but what I'm saying is that when WWE
That's
bring
why
up
Paige
this-
had to get rid of the NXT belt.
She didn't have to, but
She did. They took it from her.
Okay, fair enough. But you know what I mean? Sometimes WWE will do this, and they use that as an excuse. Oh, they beat the champion in a non-title match, so he'll get a title shot. Next time they do that, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to bring this shit up.
Yeah.
The amount of times that they chop and change what you should get a title
What
shot
constitutes
for.
a contendership?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, a brilliant match here, and Sting obviously just enjoying a little bit more trolling with. He puts his Sting mask over
Seth
the.
Rollins.
Yes.
Oh.
But yeah, he puts a mask over Seth's statue. And
Yeah.
sends him into a fucking beratement and going crazy and all that shit.
The Fury.
The Fury. Backstage, the New Day are annoying Seth Rollins over who is still freaking out over his statue.
Yep.
Xavier Woods uses his trombone to play a Final Fantasy victory theme.
I loved it.
Which is a little bit of a nod to the fact he has a gaming channel, guys. Are you wearing the
In my Shinra t-shirt?
Soldier First Class in Mako We Trust. I love it. Which people, if they're on their Twitter, they would have seen the picture of it.
True.
Hopefully, seen it. So yeah, I thought that was quite a nice little add to that. Edge and Christian show up, and they remind him that the last time that Rollins was around, they had Edge and Rollins were in the close vicinity of each other. He was about to snap Edge's neck.
Yep.
And he said, "Do you want to finish what you started, or do you want to go get some more of your friends?" And Rollins goes, "Yeah, kind of."
Bang!
Just walks off, yeah. Stomping like my child would do after I've taken like something off her that she shouldn't have. Which I'm guessing is exactly what Rollins is trying to channel within himself here.
I posted a pretty good picture showing this situation on your Facebook, which was just like, it was like Stephanie and Triple H as a family picture, but somebody had photoshopped Rollins' face onto one of their kids.
Yeah, with him like freaking out, it looks like he's crying. Yeah, brilliant. So with all that, they've got Edge and Christian and New Day next to each other. The Dudleys jump in. They says that that next week the primetime players will be getting their tag title match. That means we've got 2 title matches next week, which apparently is the season premiere of Raw.
I don't understand when they declare that it's a season premiere.
They only started saying it this week. It was basically they wanted 2 title matches on that show, and they was like, "Oh, let's just call it a season premiere."
It's like it's a season premiere, but it's a weekly episodic program.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I think,
especially considering they've gone back to announcing which episode it is.
Yeah, so it's crazy. And the winners of that match will face the Dudleys at Night of Champions, because guess what? They did beat the champions in a non-title match, so they do get their title shot, right? Always good to see Edge and Christian here, but the segment seemed a little bit of a cluster. These people came in, these people came in. I hate those segments where people just keep showing up. I dislike it. And,
hey, we had kazoos though.
We had kazoos, that saved it a little bit. I grant you that.
We had nostalgia kazoo.
And then nostalgia trombone in the form of a Final Fantasy victory thing.
Yeah.
So had a few bits there. It was a fine segment. Maybe I'm pissing on a bit too much. I just don't like that format where they keep having people pop up.
Yeah, when new people arrive.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember an opening segment that you really complained about, and that was a very similar moment where it's just sort of like, this guy turns up, now that guy turns up, and now suddenly there's 15 people in the ring all of a sudden.
Yeah, suddenly, then it's like the segment's gone on 20 minutes. People have left the ring, come back. Yeah, that was like the TNA thing that I said.
That was it.
That was the thing that got me off of TNA, was that segment where I was just like, oh god, it keeps going on. People keep coming back. People keep leaving and coming back. It just got worse. So they show that video package again of that National Enquirer-esque, Summer Rae Lana, all that shit.
You say so.
Then Summer Rae comes out. She wants to give an apology to Rusev for her actions last week, seeing Ziggler naked with his glistening body.
I just remembered what her pet name is.
What?
Ruru.
Ruru, yes, that's all over my
Ruru.
notes. Her Ruru gave her the strength to get into the strength to get her body in the shape that he likes, the form that he likes, and it's good enough for the shoot in Iron Man magazine. Which I say is a lie. That magazine is a lie.
Yeah, there is no mention of Tony Stark.
Yeah, right.
Is that where
no
you were going?
Tony Stark, and also it's Iron Man magazine.
Ah.
Yeah, right. He says that Ziggler has been trying to seduce her for weeks. She talks about his glistening body, and I was like, fantastic, awesome. Says Ziggler had been, that he'd been attempting making advances towards her, this sort of thing. And then she apologizes for letting Dolph Ziggler kiss her. Ruru, as he will always be called now in the remainder of this podcast, he will no longer be called Rusev, he will be Ruru. And accepts her apology, calling her good, obedient Summer, and all this lot.
Yeah, just more, you're such a stupid woman.
Yeah,
that was essentially narrows it down to.
Yeah. So she's like, oh yeah, fantastic, I love obeying you, it's great. And shameless pay-per-view plot, Matt.
He's ruined. It's like I've seen dog.
Scooby-Doo.
Like Scooby-Doo. I've seen dog videos on YouTube that sound exactly like just.
Oh my god. Oh god. Yeah, we're never gonna let this go.
If I didn't care enough about this storyline, I'd take it back. I want the storyline to carry on forever.
Yeah.
So I can have more Ruru.
So Ruru blames Ziggler for selling American lies to Summer and also to Lana as well.
Yeah.
Ziggler shows up. He's pissed off. He says that Rusev would never make her feel what Ziggler does. He checked that last night. That was actually a very good line, involving him having a larger sexual prowess than Ruru.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a burn to his manhood, of course. He super kicks Rusev, and yeah, that's pretty much it. They are having a match, Rusev Ziggler, a singles match. Remember, they had a clean finish to their match that they already had, you know. So
for some reason, we have to have it again.
Circumstances, obviously, Lana's injury means that they have to have something. They decide, okay, let's just do this. Let's just do
that's not it.
So, hopefully, if they do this, they put some sort of stipulation in, make it a little bit more interesting than the fact they've already had singles matches, and you know, make it maybe make it a grudge match. All these things that have gone by, make it a no DQ match. So just make it something different, right? That we've already seen.
I'll take it.
I'll take anything at this point.
Yeah, just for some sort of variety, damn it.
Yeah. Orton. Oh my God, here we go. Orton versus Sheamus. A match that brings an extra tinge of excitement. Matt, I was excited for this match. Do you know why? I was quite tired and I needed a good nap, so
okay.
I was quite excited.
Yep.
I could take a sleep. This match went at a pace that would be akin to the speed of a constipated poop coming out of the anus. And the quality of it was probably as enjoyable as that. So, Orton gets the victory with an RKO. I sincerely hope that's the end of this, but unfortunately...
JBL was mentioning that it was the rubber match, so...
but come on, they're going to put them together again.
Apparently that's written Orton off for a while.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So I had this spoiled in me. Orton got decimated by the White family. I thought, maybe he got put through a table. Maybe they slammed his hand, in this steel steps. They did something devastating.
Nope.
They kind of only beat him down the same way that Reigns and Ambrose did, right? So they basically come in, they beat him down. I'm going ahead of ourselves now, but
we'll come back to it.
Well, no, we're there now, right? So basically, Strowman chokes him out, does his finisher, and that's pretty much it, right?
Well, it reminds me of like the bit that they used to write Barrett off for screen for a while, where it's like, oh no, the bell hasn't rung, so a finisher is more devastating. That was essentially what it was, because he got hit by, because the bell hadn't rung, Stardust attacked Barrett and hit his finisher.
Yeah, that was basically, and that's supposed to.
And that was enough to write someone off.
Yeah.
What? Because WWE superstars are at half power, and then the bell rings and they just power up. Like something out of Dragon Ball.
They take the
roids
and they just beat up.
Yeah, like it's Dragon Ball. You know, they go saying when the bell rings.
Yeah. Oh no, it's ridiculous, right?
I mean, that was a gimmick for Festus, to be fair.
Why you bring up these things, Matt? Why do you still remember them?
They happened, okay?
Yeah, it happened.
In fact, I was reminiscing on the Straight Edge Society the other day. I say reminiscing like I look back on it fondly, but
and the Straight Edge Society
I was reminded of it.
But yeah, I mean, they beat him up. Like I said, they just do their finisher, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, if that's supposed to write him off, at least they could have done is carry him out, right? And they got commentary like
cart him away.
Yeah,
like, where's he gone?
And yeah, then that would be enough to maybe write him off for a couple of weeks if you do want to write him off.
Yeah.
But at very least, it's if Orton is getting time away, then fair enough. Because
apparently he wants to go on a short, not essentially like a short contract. Well, yeah, it is essentially that. He wants sort of more time off and things like that. Sort of almost to become more of a, not like exactly a full-on part-time talent, but just a less common talent.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, for a guy who's been around, it's not like Orton's a new guy throwing out these demands. He's been around a while.
He's got a lot of matches under his belt at this point, so you would expect him. Even though he's younger than most, it's because he started younger than most.
Yeah.
Some people start in WWE when they get to 30. He was like 23 when he got into like, WWE.
Well, yeah, he was.
I think he was 23 when he won the world title. Like,
he was the
crazy.
youngest world champion.
Yeah, so that's madness. So he's already got so many years under his belt. So yeah, I'm not too bothered with that. But to be honest, him going away, getting a little bit fresh, it would be better than him just rivaling with Sheamus for no reason for the next couple of months. So
it's sort of going back to like what was mentioned on the Edge and Christian podcast. Is the fact that Christian was saying, it's like, not Christian, Edge was saying that when it came to leaving, like, how it didn't really faze him, because he was like, he'd already, like, for a guy who actually got medically forced out, to use that term, sounds nasty, at such a young age, but it's like, but he'd been doing it for 20 years because he was 17 when he started.
Yeah.
So it's not so much like, oh my god, he's a young talent. Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean he started.
He still had. He's got much more wear and tear than, let's say.
That's it. Like you look at Batista, who joined the company in his 40s.
Yeah, and you are going to have less time than someone that starts in their 20s. It doesn't mean that you're going to take more. That person can,
handle more over the course. Like, he hasn't hit. Oh, you be careful once you hit 35. That's the year where everything starts going downhill. No, it's the same. It's the same wear.
Damage.
It's the same wear and tear.
Yeah. Once you start taking those bumps, and you start resting week in, week out, well, night in, night out. So if you're starting to get, if you're trying to build up.
Doesn't matter how old you are.
And those matches at TLC, like, they're going to take time off you. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I lost my train of thought here. Fair enough. If he wants to have a lesser contract, I have no problem with that, and he can come in and do a rivalry every now and then. And it would actually make me a lot more interested in what he's doing than what he's doing now, which is wrestling a lot of meaningless matches. So fair enough. Dudley Boys versus Los Matadors.
Ugh.
There is a point here where one of the Matadors gets pissed off and does what I imagine a few of us have wanted to do some weeks.
Kick El Torito.
He kicks El Torito, right? Or he slaps him first, right?
Oh yeah.
After that, obviously, them being meanies, as big meanies are the Matadors.
The beanie head.
The meanie Matadors. A 3D ends a very, very quick match. The Dudleys get the win. And then they do the unthinkable. They save El Torito from taking a beating.
Yeah.
I would have quite enjoyed that. Yeah, but apparently, well, obviously, I don't know where they're going with this. Obviously, Matadors are probably. I would think this would mean no more Matadors, because you can't do their heel as gimmicks, right? You doing the fist pump is exactly.
You can't do their gimmick as heels.
You can't do their gimmick.
I was going to say they can't do their heel as gimmicks.
Oh,
it's like
you can't do Matadors as heels, right? No. You can't. It just doesn't work. So yeah, hopefully they change it up.
But to be fair, that would imply that anyone cared about them anyway. So whether they were face or heel,
they're good workers, though, aren't they? I don't know.
They are, but doesn't mean I care for it.
There are tag teams in NXT I'd much rather want to see, have that place of them. Enzo and Cass being one of them. So,
I'm just thinking, I'd happily have. It's not Ty Dillon. It's not Dylan Joey's Perfect 10. Who is his former team, mate?
Jason Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan
and Gable.
Yeah.
I'll
take Jordan Gable over those guys. Anyway.
Ready, willing, and Gable.
Do you feel good for saying that, Matt?
I do.
Because according to Gable, everyone should feel good for saying it. So you are that.
He's like the new Bo Dallas.
We're going to be chanting that shit at London.
Yeah.
We are Gable. Oh dear. Cesaro versus The Miz. The Miz came out to seemingly zero crowd reaction. And you know what? That tends to happen to a person that loses match after match, and people don't really care about the potential that you have.
Well, especially considering it was one of those, here's how this match came to be on the Raw pre-show. It's like, fuck off.
Who goes around watching the Raw pre-show? You've got 3 hours of Raw to watch, yeah.
And it's like, oh, when they come back next after Raw, and it's like, okay, yeah, it was for the podcast, but and don't forget, so I've got to watch the hours pre-show, and then 3 hours of Raw, and then whatever, because they sometimes do the after show or whatever.
Yeah, it depends on what the show is, yeah.
And I've got to watch that as well? No.
It's just far too much. It's just crazy. But, Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got the Cesaro section signs, and Cesaro, credit to him, he did get the fans into this match. But I mean, it's hard for the guy because he's just basically he's going out and losing each week. Like no one ever gets over by going out and losing each week. Not really.
What Cesaro is?
Yeah, like he lost to like yeah, he got his single, he got like a mini
I
single.
was about to say he won, didn't he? But then I completely forgot the finish because I couldn't care. I thought it was bullshit.
He didn't win this match.
No, because of a bullshit reason.
Yeah. So basically, is the Big Show comes down. He chases the Miz around, which gets the count out. So technically he won, but I mean, come on, really, it's not really a win.
Yeah.
And then he once Miz runs away, Big Show's pissed off. Just casually walks past Cesaro.
Oh, you dog
knocks
knockout
him
power.
out.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little bit quite poignant. You know, the way that management have been, knocking him out. Maybe it was a little bit symbolic. You know, you could just change WWE into the Big Show into a big WWE sign, just knocking out Cesaro.
Yeah.
That's quite a symbol of what's going on there. Team Bella are out with Alicia Fox and Brie just praising Nikki. They're so happy to let Nikki be the champion. We've already talked a little bit earlier on that I would already make it that there's that Brie and Alicia will be saying, you know what, I should be having title shots here. I know I'm on your team, but I want to be champion, funny enough, so
yeah,
a little bit.
It's like, why are they competing for the number one contender? Why can't I have it?
Yeah, right. Just because I'm associated with the champion means I don't get title shots. It's a little bit crazy.
That's not right.
And it's a little bit like I drew the comparison with, like, you know, in the tennis, right? You've got Serena and Venus Williams. Do you think that's just because Serena Williams won the last event, like she's the reigning champion?
The Venus isn't allowed to play anymore.
Yeah, like suddenly when they get matched up against each other, Venus is just like, oh, I'm so glad you're the champion. Please just keep hitting empty balls, right? No.
Do you know what? I'm not even going to try and play this game. Like, this is all you.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not how it goes. That's not how it should be.
Because the competitors, right? And if this is the era of the female competitor, or the female athlete, which is what Paige is saying. Guess what? You need your management to start treating you like that. Otherwise, people won't treat you like that. That's the way it is.
People won't buy in.
They won't buy in. Nikki brings up her Bellatron and she tells us about her celebration plans for beating that record next week.
I think it's a bit unacceptable because she said that they would get into Brie mode. I was like they were like, we'll have champagne and we'll get into Brie mode. Are you going to get drunk? Great.
Yeah, right,
take that to your PG audience.
Yeah.
We're going to get drunk.
We're going to get slaughtered. Well, it's like funny what Brie mode is in the ring and what Brie mode is out of the ring.
That's it. Like, especially if people don't watch like Total Divas, then they'll be like, "We're just gonna get into Brie mode." Oh, what? You're gonna start kicking people? What the hell's going on? I don't understand.
One of these times you're gonna ask her to get in Brie mode when she's tag team match. She's gonna take out some vodka and get fucking slaughtered.
That's it. Just suddenly just like, hold on a second. Just pulls out a hip flask that she's been keeping in her bra.
She's absolutely plastered. She's trying to do Irish whip and she can't even run straight. She's going to the other side.
Irish whip, Irish coffee.
Yeah. Charlotte then comes out here. She says that she's going to stop Nikki's attempt to break the record by beating her for the championship, and that's the segment. That's literally it.
Yep. Done.
So.
Oh no, they had a scrap.
Oh yeah.
If you can say that.
I do expect the crowd to be into the match next week. I do think some of the segments leading up to this match though have been pretty poor, but I do expect that that they will be into the match, especially if they had the Bellatron on the Titantron. And one of the finishes that they could do, which is a bit jammy of them, I don't know if they can work it. I don't know if the time.
I don't think the are you going with the fact that Charlotte makes Nikki tap or like pins her and there's like merely seconds,
or either like Nikki beats the reign but she loses the match, sort of thing. Like she actually beats the time.
Oh
but she loses the match, right?
That'd be good.
She over celebrates the fact she beat the record, so Charlotte's actually able to beat her for the championship.
Yeah.
Sort of
I don't think they could do that because
I think it's like an hour after Raw or something.
Yeah.
So fair enough. But I thought that would be quite an interesting thing.
That would be a really good turn of events. That'd be a proper like middle finger. It's like you did it, but you lost.
Yeah.
Like I was the longest reigning. Really, where'd you belt?
Yeah, by a couple of seconds because you got beat straight after.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, yeah.
I saw one thing which is terrible. Like people comparing. It's like it's not AJ's record we need to be worried about. Because they were like, oh, they're doing this just to spite AJ and Punk. But there was there was under the belief that like Rollins is going to have the record, hold the title long enough to beat Punk.
Really? No, I don't think.
Like how fucking Like, okay, like it was some bad blood, but like this isn't a company run by pathetic children.
Well,
Well, okay, yeah.
Vince can be very spiteful, right? But at the end of the day, if it's spiteful at the turn of losing him money, then I think he's less inclined to do so.
Yeah.
I do think that this is a little bit like, I don't think it's so much like a fuck you to AJ Lee. I think it's like, you're gone, we can't use you, we need to get someone else to have that moniker so we can promote them as that, right?
Yeah.
So it may be a little bit more of a business sense. It may be a fuck you to Punk, I don't know. But I don't think Vince operates like that personally, but we'll see. Believe me, if Punk called up Vince tomorrow and said, "Can I come back?" Vince would open up his arms and his checkbook and say, "Yes, absolutely."
How much do you want?
How much do you want? Right?
This is an open. Do you know what? Fuck it. This check has my name on it. Just you write in the number.
Yeah, right.
Because he would score so much money getting Punk back in the WWE.
He would, but Punk's never coming back, right? He's, that bridge has always been burnt, and
Not to the fact. Have you seen pictures of him recently? He's like down loads of weight since his WWE time.
because he's trying to get into weight for the UFC, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Because the fact is that his natural weight for actual competition is far lower than what his WWE weight was. So
Yeah.
So, fair enough. This comes to the main event: John Cena and the Primetime Players against Seth Rollins and the New Day. A fan tried to walk down, as we said earlier, on the ramp with Rollins. He was doing like the walk that Rollins does and everything. He seemed to be enjoying it. He was very quickly whisked away.
Yeah, very quickly the camera was just like, no.
But if we ever hear a story, and we have heard stories before, for instance, there was a guy who came into a live show and load Randy Orton. Randy Orton beat the shit out of him, and fair enough. Like, if anyone comes into the ring, I think it's fair game. If the wrestler wants to do anything to you, you've entered that domain.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with the wrestler putting you in hospital for that, because you know your place. It's behind that barrier. That's the reason why they're part of that barrier. And this guy, I think he was just trolling a little bit, just having a little bit of fun.
It was just, yeah.
I don't think he ever meant any harm, but still, it's a little bit stupid, but still. I thought this match was okay at best. I didn't enjoy it that much.
It did what it needed to do.
Cena gets the win with the AA. Rollins gets his second loss of the night, so he's frustrated to all hell. And then Cena does the millions of dollar dance with the Primetime Players. The only difference being that Cena actually has millions
of dollars, yeah.
So maybe he knows how to do that dance better than the Primetime Players. Who knows? Sting the Troll appears once more on the Titantron. He turns on the lights to show that he's near a waste disposal truck, and then he chucks the beloved statue into the truck.
That's why I loved it. I was like, what? We've been here all night. Like, we've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
I guess you don't want it anymore.
It's Uber Troll Sting.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, it's quite funny because he puts it into it and it like snaps the statue in half. And I'm like, that bullshit. Bronze does not act like that, my friend. Like, bronze does not snap in half. So yeah, that was quite funny there. But we all knew it wasn't, to be honest. And then Sting just grabs on the side of the waste disposal truck and just rides off into the sunset with the broken statue, wooing in his mega levels of trolling. That's how the show ended this week. All in all, I thought that this was a less than average show. Maybe, like I said, I am biased here.
It's a mid-month.
But it was hard to get through some points here on the show. But I do think next week is actually showing up like as if it will be quite an interesting show. You've got the two title matches. I think WWE will, because of those title matches, put a little bit more effort in other areas.
Hope. As what it's meant to be their debut, their seasonal debut, or whatever the hell it's meant to be.
Season premiere.
That's it.
But still, I think next week will be a lot better than this week. This week, it goes my rating of catch it if you want, but you can miss it. I wouldn't be too bothered if I missed it.
It could sit and wait.
So yeah, is there anything else that we want to talk about, Matt? It's a short podcast than many.
No, I think I might go back and watch Edge of Christian at some point.
Yeah. Hell no, we might even do it together.
Yeah.
Alright, guys, I will do all my plugs now. If you do want to, if you're new to the show, you liked what you heard here, then you can subscribe, become one of our almost 400 subscribers. We're very excited to hit that milestone. Yeah, I was about to say deadline. I was like, there's no deadline there. If you want to send any tweets to us, Matt, what is the Twitter handle?
The @TalkWrestlePod handle.
it's just so good. I mean, I've been playing it down a little bit on the set. I'll give you that, but just geez, that's good. That's good. And also, like I said, for that competition, the intro competition, introduce us on our show here on 30 seconds. Send it to the Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com.
Yep.
And I'll have that link in the description, everything like that for you there, guys. But apart from that, we hope you have a great week. We hope you did enjoy this episode of the Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. We'll be back to our usual, over the pond
escapades
next week. And we hope you'll join us there. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you have a great week.
That's it.
We're about to go get absolutely slaughtered in a couple of hours.
Weddings!
Yay! Alright, guys, catch you next time.
Catch you soon.